Shut up and sit down.
So Wrestlemania is, sort of cancelled. I know it's not been cancelled. Obviously, Raw, SmackDown, they've been moved to the Performance Centre due to, obviously, the coronavirus and everything else. Me, myself, I am now under quarantine. So I'm not ill. I don't think I am. But there is people in the household who have got symptoms. It could be coronavirus, probably not. But, you've got to be safe now. And obviously, government instructions, etc., which the rest of the world is under right now. But obviously, WrestleMania, it's quite a big one. It's quite an interesting kind of choice for them to take the flagship show and go, we're going to film it anyway, but without a crowd. Now, I've watched Raw and SmackDown, in the ones filmed in the Performance Centre, and I'm not a fan of it, if I'm honest. WWE has always been about the electricity of the crowd feeding off the responses. It's what it's all about, the whole kind of shtick sort of loses its weight when there's no live reactions going on. So although you're not there in the crowd when you're watching it from on the TV and things like that, or YouTube or whatever, but you feel that energy from the crowd. It's like when you go to watch WWE live, which I've done a couple of times now, when it's been in the UK, and interestingly, even when you take the commentary away from it, it's an entirely different product. So how WrestleMania is going to factor without a crowd, I don't know that it's going to translate, if I'm honest. Which leads me to question whether they should have postponed it, drag it out, maybe. I don't know, maybe have a smaller pay-per-view, something like that, to kind of catch up with it. We've got a long way till Royal Rumbles and things like that. So, to have the flagship show filmed in the Performance Centre, I don't see as working at all. Like I say, Raw and SmackDown, it's been alright, but most of it falls flat. So, key in point was Stone Cold on SmackDown. He is probably one of the most energizing superstars there is. He's the top guy for that. I say he's top guy. He's in the top 3 or 4 people to elicit a response from a live crowd, and that adds to his thing. It did feel a little bit flat and a little bit kind of, it didn't quite resonate. And maybe that's because he's old school, and the newer guys, have kind of come up in a different era when it comes to the type of media that they that they present to on a day-to-day basis. But it just felt a little bit empty. The Undertaker coming in again, there was no pop because there's no crowd, so you're relying entirely on the commentators to do the pop for you, which doesn't really translate to the viewer. So. Is cancelling WrestleMania? Would cancelling WrestleMania have been a better alternative? Well, not cancelling, postponing, whatever. Personally, I think so. I think the show's too big to be filmed in the Performance Centre, and I know they'll have advertising responsibilities, and no doubt, this year's advertisers will have been kind of probably signed up 4 years ago, but it's an interesting idea that, as I say, to have the flagship show filmed effectively like Raw and SmackDown have been, which is in a flat, empty sort of environment, Performance Centre. I get it. You can't put big crowds together at the moment. This coronavirus thing is serious. As much as a lot of people go, it's fine. It isn't. It's killing a lot of people, not directly, but indirectly. So you certainly can't have however many tickets are sold, 80,000, 90,000 normally. So yeah, it's a given. They've got to cancel it as far as public, the public attendance is concerned. But I just feel that this will be probably the most forgettable WrestleMania in the history of WrestleManias. There's been a few where you've just kind of walked away and gone, yeah, it was all right. But I think this WrestleMania may as well not exist. Nobody's going to be going back on YouTube and going, oh, do you remember the thing when there was no crowd? It's just not going to work. The WWE, Raw, SmackDown, they've been hard to watch. Because what it also does as well is, the wrestlers are actors, but they're not actors. And one of the things it's exposed a little bit is when they don't have a crowd to pull from and to respond to, it's like a method actor. So a method actor puts himself into the zone, and a method actor becomes the character. Heath Ledger, when he played the Joker, he did that. He became the Joker whilst he was filming it, to legal extents. But the actors, trained actors like that, are able to do that, so they could work in an environment where there is no crowd. But these guys aren't method actors for the most part. Some of them will be, some of them will be able to carry it off. But yeah, so it's a difficult one. Edge's promo on Randy Orton actually worked. I like that. But again, if you'd have put that in front of 40,000 people, this version we've just had just wouldn't have compared. So it's a difficult one because as a WWE fan and as all the fans out there, it's a shame. It's a shame that we're not going to get those amazing WrestleMania moments. You've got The Fiend versus Cena. Again, that could have been huge. The crowd pops of The Fiend and Cena, two superstars who, I think pretty much rule the ring, pun intended, when it comes to crowd reactions. Those guys are basically top of the tree from being able to elicit response from a crowd. Do they perform well in an empty format like obviously the Performance Centre is? No, they don't. It's just fact. I've got we had the altercation between the two of them with Bray coming in and everything else, and it was weird. It was like, yeah, it just, the weight and the intent and the intensity, they fall out, I think, without a crowd in WWE, and that's a shame. But as I say, had this been an elimination chamber or whatever, just one of the more sort of mid-tier or lower pay-per-views, then yeah, fine. Record in the Performance Centre, get on with our lives. But for WrestleMania to be out there without a crowd, I personally don't like the decision. I think it should have been postponed. And I know this coronavirus thing could be indefinite. We're all assuming that it'll go away in 12 weeks. Some people are saying 6 months, some people are saying 18 months. There's lots of say so. So I know postponing stuff is difficult because how long's a piece of string. But for something like this, as a product that I love with WWE for most of it, there are a few times where I've gone, I'm cancelling this shit, but it always brings me back. Yeah, it's not good. And I feel sorry for, like Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. This should be his marquee moment. Defeating, hopefully, the guy who rather questionably halted his run back in the day, back when he was just Bray Wyatt. This should be a defining moment for him. Unfortunately, nobody's going to see it. So, yeah, it's do you know what? It's a massive shame, I think, for the wrestlers. I think it's a massive shame for the crowd. It's a massive shame for WWE. They don't want to do this. You know, they want a product that's out there that people are seeing and going to live. They know it's a live show product, so it's not their fault. I just question whether this course of action is the right course of action, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But I'm curious as to see what other people think about WrestleMania. Should it be filmed? Should it be should it be filmed in the Performance Centre? Should it have been postponed? Do we bring in a lower key pay-per-view and bring WrestleMania in hopefully a couple of months or something like that? I don't know. I'm curious to see what other people's opinions are. So yeah, drop us a comment below. Let me know. What are your opinions? What do you think about WrestleMania being filmed in the Performance Centre without a crowd? I am curious to see what other fans sort of think about it. And yeah, what will the repercussions be? I think it's going to be forgettable. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be the worst WrestleMania of them all, which is a shame. So guys, keep in touch though. Obviously, drop some comments below. Hit the subscribe button as well. This is a growing channel. I've only got 100 subscribers, so you know every subscription makes a difference to me. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that little red button below. It's a big help to me. It's a big help to the channel. It helps YouTube know that we're here. At the moment, they don't. So yeah, so big thanks for anybody who supports the channel. But other than that, that's just my thoughts on it for today. Yeah, let me know. I'm gonna sit here in my little quarantined house. I say little, it's not a small house, but there you go. Yeah. So yeah, everybody stay well. Coronavirus, take it seriously as well, guys. Seriously. There's lots of comments on there around at the moment of people waving off and going, it's nothing. You know, take it from me, it's a serious thing. I've got elderly relatives who, should they contract it, it would be not a good thing. But yeah, so stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you in the next one.